This is 30 Days of Making Action Hospital number 11. Today is January 9. I'm a writer. I write books like Action Hospital and Fuck Off Squad and Teenage Switchblade. Right now I'm in the middle of working on Action Hospital issue 19, page 215 and 216. This is a double page spread. I'm pretty excited about it, mostly because that means no more 9-panel grids for a moment. I finished this page yesterday, which is a 9-panel grid. Page I'm working on right now is Sharkerham Lincoln being chased by a slowly dying 10-headed demon, or 9 3/4-headed demon. I'm going to work on this video, or this page, more after this video. But I don't think I'm actually going to play any time lapses today. I'm going to talk about the book that I'm currently reading, View from the Bridge, by Nicholas Meyer, the writer of a few of the Star Trek films and the director of Wrath of Khan and Undiscovered Country. This is his memoir about Star Trek and working in the film industry. Currently I'm only like 20 or 30 pages in, but it's super fascinating because this dude seems like the loneliest guy ever. I relate a lot to him. There's a lot of stuff in there about kind of like his mom dying young, and him and his dad making basically a fan film, but in the like 60s, before fan film was like a term, where their bonding ritual after his mother passed away is that they remade Around the World in 80 Days for like 6 years, where his dad would take him out with a bunch of his friends and they would shoot out of sequence, and they would basically remake scenes from the iconic Around the World in 80 Days. And it's super, super cool. He writes about his dad in this weird kind of like lovingly detached way where, he talks about how his dad and him never really got along, and they kind of had this weird dysfunctional relationship, but all that kind of didn't matter when they were making Around the World in 80 Days. It made me think a lot of those kids who were making the Indiana Jones shot-for-shot remake that has now since like become, internet gold, where people are always talking about this. They've made a documentary about it, and they've made a book, and like they reshot the ending of the movie with them as adults now. So if you haven't seen that documentary, you should. It's really cool, and it's crazy that these kids made this fucking movie. But it kind of chronicles his life and how he went from this kid in New York to going to school in Idaho in their like fledgling film department, and being a film reviewer, and film reviewer for their college newspaper, and how he got a job at Paramount in their publicity department, basically like rewriting copy for solicitations for movies and press kits and whatnot. And I don't know. He's a really great writer, so it's interesting to read and well written. And 2, there's all kinds of weird little anecdotes that are almost not anecdotes. He kind of like glosses over them, and I'm kind of like, wait, whoa, what was that? Like, there's a part in the chapter that I'm in right now where he talks about how Paramount would give all of their employees $50 to go out and buy books. Coincidentally, those books, the film rights were owned by Paramount. So they would be like, go to your local fucking bookstore and buy 10 copies of The Godfather, or buy 10 copies of insert whatever movie they were trying to make into a movie, or a book they're trying to make into a movie. Which is super crazy that actually worked, because I guess the bestseller lists at that time, you could inflate them really easily. Like, I feel like buying 10 copies of a book wouldn't put it on the bestsellers list, but apparently it did in the 70s, or the 60s, whenever it was happening. It's really, really interesting. I don't know. I enjoy the fact that he phrases everything with this kind of like dispassionately curious point of view where he's kind of like permanently an outsider. Like he talks a lot about living in Los Angeles and how he doesn't have any family here, and how things get kind of weird here when you don't have a safety net, and how he was always kind of jealous about that connection that people who worked in the industry and had family members that worked in the industry had, where he would be on set for 10 hours a day by himself, go home and be alone. And sometimes directing can be a somewhat solitary experience, and he would almost covet these relationships that Hollywood family dynasties have, where you'd see Alan Ladd and Alan Ladd Jr., and that they are both like in the industry super successful, but they also have each other in order to kind of balance things out. Kind of like how the Beatles, when they met Elvis, they were like, oh man, thank God we have each other, because that dude seems lonely as shit, because it's lonely at the top. I don't know. I relate a lot to that in terms of just kind of like, being at the table, being a writer here in LA, and like, I have a very close-knit group of friends and family, but I don't know if any of them are actual family. Like one or two, yeah, those people are like, oh yes, we are ride or die motherfuckers. But most of my family either lives in New York or Arizona. So I don't know. He is much more interesting than I would have thought. Mostly due to the fact that while Wrath of Khan is a fucking amazing movie, Undiscovered Country? He also wrote part of Voyage Home. I think he was one of the co-writers on Voyage Home, which again, I like that movie. That's a fun movie. It is what it is. It's a good Star Trek movie. It's fun, it's campy, silly. Spock is wearing a head scarf thing. He doesn't know who he is because he just came back from the dead. I don't know. It's fun. But this book is so much more complex than Star Trek 5 and 6 and 4. Or no, he didn't write 5. I think he wrote 4 and 6. I don't know. I guess that just shows you the fucking studio system. He also wrote and directed Time After Time, which is really dope. I love that movie. I don't know. Part of me is like, man, they should just make this book into a fucking movie. I'd watch a View from the Bridge movie, or just a Nicholas Meyer movie. This is cool. This guy's fucking rad. Anyway, I'm gonna go back to drawing now. Hopefully, by the end of today, I will be done with page 215/216. It's probably not gonna happen, but hopefully I will. Alright, thanks for watching.